Alrighty guys, I'm just going to get straight to it. Cult of the Lamb is amazing. And if the combination of The Binding of Isaac and Animal Crossing sounds appealing to you, you need to play this. In Cult of the Lamb, you play as the Lamb, who is sacrificed at the beginning of the game, but is then resurrected by the One Who Waits. And in return for bringing you back to life, he only requests that you begin a cult in his name. And from this point on, you are sent off into the game with the mission to build your cult, all with the grand mission of taking down the 4 other gods in the game, who are known as the 4 gods of the Old Faith, who are pretty much the opposing gods to you and your cult. Now, the gameplay of Cult of the Lamb is split up into 2 parts. One, the roguelike part, and the other, the life sim cult management part. The roguelike part is very akin to something like The Binding of Isaac or even Hades, but I will admit it is very simplistic when it comes to just combat variety and build variety. There's really not a ton of options in terms of upgrades and weaponry. But the combat that is there and the weapons that are there do feel good. The combat is serviceable. It's not like it's bad in any way. It's just not super deep, and to be honest, it kind of is lacking when in comparison to the cult management part of the game, which is my personal favorite. It is so much fun to just build your cult up and literally build it building by building, cult member by cult member, and having to manage your cult, whether it be through rituals or through the hunger and cleanliness meters, which you have to constantly manage until you build up enough to the point where it actually becomes pretty much automated, and the only thing you yourself as the cult leader really has to do at a certain point is just the rituals and feed them. When it comes to like the resources that you can get in your cult, whether it be wood or stone or any of the other things you can make, as well as the planting, you can actually make all of that automated through the many different buildings and many different things you can assign your cult members to do. The roguelike part of this game is a very by-the-books roguelike formula. You're just fighting through your levels. At the end there's a boss. You have a few different weapons, as well as a projectile move and a dodge roll, and that's pretty much it when it comes to the combat. Yes, you can still upgrade yourself through the tarot cards throughout the map, but a lot of them are this percentage based like stat boosts. There isn't any like elemental things that really interact with one another, and because of that there's not really a ton of like build diversity. You pretty much just have your weapons. It's either going to be fast or slow. Obviously the slow ones do a little bit less damage, but you can attack quicker. Fast ones do big damage, attack slower. And then your projectiles have a few little different things that they can do, but nothing too special, or again, there's not really any interactable upgrades you can get to like combo things together or really build towards a specific build. You just kind of get whatever does the most damage and be on your way. Now again, while I don't think the roguelike combat and the whole roguelike side of this game is bad by any means, it's just pretty standard. We've seen it before, especially when it's compared to the cult side of the game, where you're really managing things and things are just a lot of fun, and there's a lot of unique stuff with the rituals that you can do. It just seems like that side of the game, at least for me personally, was a lot more enjoyable, and every time I was out on a roguelike run to get materials, I was really eager to come back to the cult to use those materials and really upgrade, and just spent a whole lot more time with the cult and doing that side of the game than I did with the roguelike part. Pretty much that's the entirety of the game, honestly, which may not sound like much, but this game is constantly bringing you back and forth between the roguelike side and the life sim cult side, and it's balanced perfectly. It's never too much of one thing or too little of the other. It's a really delicate balance, and I think the developers have really perfected it in making you have to and want to go back and forth between these 2 sides of the game to get materials, get new cult members, but also once you're back in the cult, use those materials and cult members to build new things, upgrade stuff that's currently there, or just do rituals on your cult members to sacrifice them just to get materials or whatever you want to do. Because remember, while this is, a cute lamb life sim, this is a cult. You can do some pretty messed up stuff in this game, but for example, a ritual that I used a lot of the time was when your cult members start getting too old, they can just die, and it would cause disease to spread throughout your cult. So when they would get too old, I would just sacrifice them basically, and they would give me money or like your spiritual level, which you use that to get new abilities and whatnot and new buildings. So I would just end up sacrificing them instead of letting them die so that I didn't have to worry about cleaning up dead bodies and whatnot. But that's just one example of the many different rituals that I won't get into all of them. I'll leave some up to for you guys to find if you decide to pick this game up. But yeah, there's there's quite a bit of interesting stuff you can do with the rituals. Now, aside from a couple other mini games like fishing or the super addicting dice game called Knuckle Bones that's in the game, that's pretty much all that Cult of the Lamb has to offer. While other roguelikes kind of can get by with having quote-unquote infinite replayability with a bunch of builds and, you know, procedurally generated stuff, Cult of the Lamb is a much more focused experience. I'd say I got around, I think, 20 hours out of the game, and once you kind of beat that main storyline, yes, you can still keep playing and keep going on runs and try to see how long you can last, but again, because of the lack of build diversity, I feel like most people are going to get through that really solidly built 20-ish hour experience and probably be done with this game until hopefully more content comes in the future. I know that the developers have already put out a roadmap, so content is probably coming for this game, but as it is right now, I think this is a very well put together, 20-hour experience. But if you're looking for another roguelike that's just going to envelop you and you're going to get really into like build diversity and just doing run after run after run, then I don't think this game is for you. But again, with that being said, just for that really super tight and really well put together experience of this roguelike and sim balancing act, I think this game is amazing and it's one of my favorite games of the year so far. So yeah, this is a bit of a short review, but I did like the game a lot, so I figured I'd make the video on it and the review on it. So if you give this game a shot, let me know what you guys think, or just let me know what you think of the game if you're maybe just seeing it for the first time in this video. And be sure to like and subscribe for future reviews and just future videos and streams in general. And I'll see you guys in the next one.